My name is Uncle Johnny and this is John Obell channel on YouTube. Today we have somebody who has traveled from overseas and is staying here in Australia. He's going to introduce himself and tell us where he's come from and why he's living in Australia. Welcome to my YouTube channel.
Thank you. My name is Ahadi, Ahadi Kabike, and I came from Congo. That's my original country. And from Congo, I went to a little country called Malawi in Southern Africa. And then from Malawi, I came to Australia.
Okay. Oh, that's a big journey.
It is a very, very big journey.
Okay, so what made you come from Congo to Malawi and then finally Australia?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. As we all know that Congo has been a very unstable country. And the very, very big reason why I traveled from Congo to Malawi was the country being unstable. Being unstable, I mean country involving into a little bit of civil war, conflicts, and the neighboring country trying to invade the country. So that is a whole another story. But then that was the main reason of moving from Congo to Malawi. So the country was unstable.
Okay. So you went to Malawi as a refugee?
Yes. Went to Malawi as a asylum seeker, as a refugee, and then was granted as a refugee, and there I stayed for quite some, I think, number of years, and then after that, and then moved to Australia. Yes.
Okay. Were you not stable in Malawi? Then you decided, okay, now I'm not stable in Malawi, let me go to another country? Or what made you come out of Malawi?
Well, that's a really good question. Yes, I was stable in Malawi, and life was good. But then I realized that some of the instabilities that caused me to move from Congo to Malawi was still very, very coming closer to me. And then in that way,
all those trouble were following you.
Those trouble were following me. I said, okay, now I need to seek for an asylum seeker for Australia.
Go somewhere far.
Go far away to actually see if I can run away from a little bit of this instability. So that's why. But otherwise, I was living a very comfortable life in Malawi.
Okay. Can you just tell us the process? We know I've interviewed a lot of students who have come to Australia, and that's a different process. You as a refugee, what's the process of becoming, seeking asylum to another country? Is it easier or is it a bit cumbersome or difficult?
It is hard. It's not easy. Otherwise, if it was easy, so all refugees was just coming in. But it's not easy. So it's a little bit hard, and it depend on the stabilities of that's is haunting you or causing you to move from your country to another country. So if you have a very difficult story, and not only story, difficult life, that actually give you credit to actually gain an asylum seeker abroad. So I could say that my story is or my life I was living is the reason why I was granted asylum seeker to Australia.
So briefly, if you can explain to people, what do you mean difficult story? Or difficult life?
Difficult life, I mean, that involves, again, it involves political kind of instabilities and the environment of life from where you come from, and then and combinations of a lot of unstable life.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why I said difficult life. And then if I want to break each and every thing down, it will take the whole day. So that's why I'm saying I'm trying to shorten it to a short, like to a story.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I can say. Yeah. But it's combination of instability of politics and also the environment of life and also the whole combination of life being not stable.
Okay, so who was affected by that life? Was it just you or your family as a whole?
It was the whole family.
Yeah,
the whole family was actually affected. And that's actually pushes everyone to actually move out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So the whole of your family moved to Malawi, and then again you moved to Australia. The whole family moved to Australia.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the whole family moved from Congo to Malawi, from Malawi to Australia.
To Australia.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, can you just tell us how you settled in Australia?
Oh, that's a really good question. I came to Australia, or the whole family, our family came to Australia in 2011.
Yeah.
So when I was staying in Malawi, going back to Malawi, I was a student. I was still young, and Malawi, they have a British kind of system of education.
So it was colonized by the British.
It was colonized by the British.
Okay, yeah.
So I was studying in English.
Yeah.
That gave me a little bit of credit when I came to Australia.
Okay.
When I first arrived to Australia, to not finding very, very difficult to actually adjust myself into the school, especially, and obviously into a community. But then a community, it's a whole other story to adjust, because it's a combination of cultural shock and a lot of other life environment that actually you require in order to settle.
We'll talk about the shock you got when you arrived. But continue with your story.
So, but in short, it was, for me as a young person, it was not difficult. At the same time, it was not easy to actually adjust. But I guess to my parents and elders who are actually coming from overseas, who are unable to speak English, who are unable to adjust very, very well. They're the ones who actually get affected very, very much.
Okay. So it was difficult for them to settle in Australia.
Yes.
Did you find sometimes at one stage you were trying to interpret for them when they were seeking help or something like that?
Yes. Obviously, they are my family. Yeah. So, and every time they need any help, I would step up and help, and especially translating and navigating some other like a modern kind of Western modern kind of way of life. Since if you were studying in a school which was colonized by British, obviously you will have a little bit of culture of British in you, but then it's not the whole culture, but then a little bit, because you have been through
exposed to that
kind of
so did you have to step up very quickly and become mature quickly, although you came here very young, so that you can help your family or elders so that they can fit in the community?
It's known that yes, you have to grow in terms of trying to help your elders, trying to help your family or your father, your mother. But then I wouldn't say that I grew up very quickly in that way. But then they start learning as well. They start going to school. They start learning a little bit of English and the Western culture kind of thing, and that it gave me a little bit of rest to not helping them that very much.
So you could do your things, go to school and try and study.
Sure.
Okay. Now, you mentioned about the culture shock.
Yes.
But can you just tell us a bit of the culture shock you got when you arrived in Australia?
Everyone, I understand that everywhere and everyone, no matter where, even if you came from one Western country to another Western country, there is still a little bit of culture in you that you're going to realize that where you are now, that culture is being applied in a different way. So when we first arrived, especially a lot of things that I found a little bit difficult in terms of culture was, yes, I could speak English, but then the way you convey words, it could be a little bit different from people how they understand you. Oh, what did you mean? That's that's the reaction that you normally get from a lot of people. You say something, you think you understand what you're saying to them, but then I said, what do you mean?
It means a different thing to them.
That's right. So that's a little bit of cultural shock kind of thing. So, I thought that's normal to my culture. So no, it's not normal.
So you found yourself repeating a lot, repeating one thing, the same thing to the same person you were talking to.
That's right. And that was not easy. But anyway, you as you grow, as you stay in an environment for a long time, you adapt, and then you become one of them.
How did you manage to do in school?
In school, yes, as I say, that I did not struggle very much. But then the only way that you struggle is to find friends and have that company that actually support you. You know, in school you're gonna be facing a lot of things. You know, but if you have friends, and then that become a little bit easy. So struggle a little bit in finding friends. Yes, and again, communication with other teachers and the school administration was a little bit of difficult. But then, since I could speak English, that was really not very hard. Not very hard. And obviously, it comes again to how bright you are, how quick you are able to adjust and adapt. So if you're a little bit bright, you pick up very quickly. So and that way, when I first arrived, I started going to high school, and then from high school I didn't stay long. It was in year 11. I didn't stay long. Finished my year 12. Went to university straight up. So so your adjustment was very quickly. It was very quickly.
Have you ever gone back to Congo since you came here several years ago?
I went back not to Congo. I went back to Africa to just visit some friends and relatives, but not in Congo, in a neighboring country in Burundi. And I went to Malawi as well. So it was in 2008 and 18. So it was really good.
How was it? How was it when you went back there?
Obviously, it was a little bit different. The way you imagine things could be. Not a change as a development kind of change, a change of environment. You know, you're not used to things that you see things in different way, and then you go back and say, "Oh, is that right?" You know, things like that.
Your friends have gone away.
That's right. So it was a little bit of change, but not a change of development, but a change of your environment. Yes.
So when you came to Australia, did you find some refugee here from your country who have already settled here? And
yes.
If you did, how did you communicate with them?
When we first arrived, we found few other refugees, few other Congolese families here, and they are actually they're the ones who, when I say that I did not grow very quickly to teach my parents to guide them or to trying to make them navigating the way of life here easily. They are the ones, those family we found here, they are the ones that are actually kind of like help me to start interacting with my family, going along and do some their culture, like Congolese cultural way things. So they were very, very helpful.
Shopping, all that stuff. Did you find your food here from Congo?
Yeah, well, the first time you arrive, you struggle to say, where can I get this food? Where can I get food? But then the more you stay here, you get exposed to different areas, you get exposed to different people. They show you, oh, if you're looking for that food, you can go there, you can get it. If you're looking for that, you can go there, you can get it. For the first time, you struggle, but then when you stay longer, 2, 3 years, 4 years, you get exposed to a whole different environment, and that gets to be easy for you to get the food and you know, to get everything that you want. But you can't find everything, but then you get at least a little bit, quarter of what you're looking for.
Now, given a chance now, since you've been exposed and you've lived here for a long time, given a chance to go back to Congo, can you make a difference in Congo if you go back there and teach people what you know?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You know, you change. It's very hard to change someone. It's really, really hard to change. If I change, it's because it's like you take fresh water, 1 glass of fresh water, and you pulled in an ocean of seawater. So that can absorb very quickly. That example is me coming from abroad, coming to Australia, and then I had to, because I'm exposed to everything, it was Australian kind of way, I had to adapt very quickly because it's hard to find someone from, a little bit hard to find someone from my country to hang around and to do those usual kind of things that we used to do back home, but then you're exposed to a new different ideas, new different environment. So it's quickly. But then if I go there, instead of trying to change them, they would change you.
They're going to change you.
That's right.
They want you to live their way now.
That's right. Because if you force it, then they will. That's where the conflict started. They said, no, that's not how we do things here. And if you want to bring the way we do things here, we can't accept. So it's hard to change individuals. But then, if you said changing people in a different way, maybe through education. If let's say you influence the education system to see, and it has to go through education. So this is how things should be done. So it has to start from the earlier ages. It will be hard to change grown-up people, elders, but then if you start from the bottom, you change those young people, and therefore you find out that the generation which is coming up it has a really, really different mentality and a different way of looking at the world.
My name is Agojoni, and we're talking to Ahadi from Congo. This is John Obell channel, and soon we are going to launch our podcast in Spotify, I think so, and all these videos and communication we're doing here, we are going to launch them in Spotify. So stay tuned. Wherever you are, wherever you'll be, you can still listen to us, giving you story from people from overseas living here abroad. As we started earlier, I was just talking to Ahmed, who is travel different places from in the world, and is just trying to settle in Australia. So how did you find Australian food?
It was not easy, but again, when you just arrive when you're young, you test a lot of things. You test food, you test music, you test, it's like you don't care what you test. And that way, by testing a lot of things, you get your favorite. I said, okay, well, I think I can eat that. So by the first time, you struggle, but then when you stay long, especially when you're young, it's not easy. It's not very difficult to actually adapt to eat different kind of Australian food. So, for instance, I do have some favorite already, the food that I enjoy most. But if you could tell me to eat that food, the first day I landed in Australia, I said, no, I can't do that.
Okay, that's fair enough. Now, what can you advise the refugee who are out there and they are hoping to come to Australia?
That's a really good question. There are a lot of advices that you can give to our fellow refugees who are still in a refugee camp who are trying to come here to Australia. The advice number one is they need to focus on education. First language, they need to try to pick up a little bit of English before they come here. Because that will help them very, very much when they first arrive here. Second thing is they need to start thinking about how to live their life in a budget way. You don't just live life said, okay, what comes tomorrow is what comes tomorrow. You live your life by plan. You plan your life, this is what I'm going to do for the next 3 years. This is what I'm going to do for the next 10 years. They should start thinking about that. Because I understand someone living in a refugee camp, you don't have any plan. What you know is, how am I going to get food for the next day? And that's it. And then you sleep, you wake up, day in, day out, things like that. But and advice number 3 is to think about when they arrive in Australia, they should try really hard to stay humble and not fight against change, but they should be soft to change. They should be able to absorb that change very easily. Because if you go against everything here, then you're gonna struggle more. So you need to be very flexible. And then that way you are going to adapt and absorb in the whole Australian culture very, very well. I think those are three.
Those are 3 and very important.
That's right.
Accept change.
That's right.
Don't fight change.
That's right.
And learn English. I think that's very important too, because people who don't speak English really struggle when they come here because it's very hard. Everything is done in English.
That's right. Yes.
So now you've enlightened us very much, because we've never talked to a refugee before, and we know. So what goes in a refugee mind when they are leaving their country? Like when you are leaving, you didn't plan to leave. When you're leaving Congo, you didn't plan. You sort of just wake up one day in the morning and just dash to Malawi. What was going through your mind at that particular time?
Okay, that's a really good question, and I'm gonna elaborate that question in a very modern, or I could say in a postmodern kind of way. Because we're actually living that life now. So when you just first leave your country as a refugee, the only thing that goes in your mind is, I'm running away from trouble and I'm searching for a better and safe place to stay, to live. That what goes in your mind. You don't know what comes up, what goes up. That's the I'm just running. Whenever I found a safe place,
You'll be there.
I'll stay there. So and you keep running, you keep running, you keep running. I'll give you an example. At the moment, we are struggling and we are fighting with this pandemic of COVID-19. So imagine if we haven't had any plan, or if countries haven't had any plan of vaccines and how to contain the virus, and the virus has become very, very worse. People from all over the world, they'll be running where there's no virus. They'll be running whether to Australia and say, we know you have a very lower case. We'll be running from, we're coming there. They'll be running from here.
So they go to a safe place.
That's right. So they're running from trouble. In their mind, we're going there to seek a very better and safe life. And that's what goes in a refugee's mind when they're leaving their country.
That's very difficult, because you don't know where you're going is going to be safe for you.
That's right.
You don't know what you're going to find there. So it's really very difficult to be a refugee.
I know.
Say so.
It is.
Anyway, thank you very much, Ahadi, for enlightening us about refugee life, which is a bit difficult, but you didn't choose that life. It found you. So thank you for opening up and talking to us about a little bit of your life as a refugee. We are going to partner with you, I think, to do Spotify and then see how we are going to enlighten people about living African way and in a different country.
Yes, I think I'll be very, very glad. I'll be very, very glad to share the partnership with you, holding interviews to different people, to hear not only living abroad, how they are managing living abroad, but also to hear different stories, to enlarge, to see if they've got any stories that actually correlate to them living abroad. So it could be anything, any story, and then we'll move from there. So interviewing them and hearing from them will be fantastic.
Excellent. Watch this page. Thank you very much.